So
Oksana,
so
so yes, let's jump back into the conversation that we were just in before hitting record, and I was smart enough to do that. So tell us, you went back last summer, and then um, Vlad was also talking about people going back and just not finding their teams, not finding their people. So what are you hearing? What are you seeing from people?
well, they definitely, well, somebody in the east not finding their house. Somebody is not finding half of the city or town, like Bucha, Irpin. A lot of people moved and they don't want to go back there because there are so many bad memories. But otherwise, everything was reconstructed. Kiev and around and surroundings, everything was reconstructed. The road to my mother house, like I'm on the one side of Kiev, she's on another one, was completely bombed. Zhytomyrska.
Oh,
It
that's
was
where
completely bombed. Like every, and when I came back, I barely found two places, which one was burned, still not reconstructed, and the other one, it's a maternity ward where the wall was, I don't know, with shoot it with a tank or something, a huge hole in, and they didn't reconstruct it. The rest, all gas stations, buildings, grocery stores, they're all up. Like just like if nobody told me there was war, if I didn't see those videos of my neighbors and everything, I would not believe. I would not even notice. Like I didn't download alert application where it says like alert on, like you have to leave, you have to hide. I didn't because we live on outside. We live in the house. We go to the lake, which is right next to, and like if the alarm comes on, I'm not gonna go back with two kids hiding. We just pray. um, but there are people who are coming back and so everything is different, mainly for those who live in so not in the east where everything is destroyed, but let's say in Kiev or Lviv or something, works. A lot of people have lost their businesses due to economy changes. Other businesses came into the market which are really in high need, some military needs, something else. Others are just not in the market at all anymore. That is which is something is different. But I was on maternity leave when I was leaving. I am on maternity leave when I came back, so I kind of didn't feel it much. My husband was lucky to get some online job here in Europe, so we didn't feel it much. But everything changed. Prices went super high up. As I'm telling you, we were lucky. 2 months there were not huge attacks, as just several that went directly into the Kiev. But then when the moment we landed back, the night we landed back, it was 29th of August. My neighbor calls me, and she was there from the very beginning of the war, so she gone through everything, so she's not like newcomer or something. She says, Oksana, they were building, like, you were so lucky to leave yesterday. They were bombing us badly tonight, like badly. You can't imagine. Like she has her basement. She needs to get out of the house and kind of make a turn around the house to get in. Like it's right here. It's like full stair. But she says, I was afraid to leave the house because I thought that I'm not gonna be on time to open it with the key. So we just didn't leave the house, which is still dangerous. And I said, really, like I couldn't believe it because for 2 months I lived there like just like before the war. And she said yes, and that was actually the moment when I made a decision. Okay, I'm not going back there, even in 1 year, because from that September until next, so I still had 1 year. But I said, okay, I need to look for something here, and make my mind. Where do we stay? Where do we go? What we do?
Yeah.
And how we continue helping, because military is winding up. All the stories and everybody, they say you guys forgetting it, but we are dying here, and there are basic needs that are still not met, and fundraising are low. Big bloggers, they don't want to take any posts or any information to publish for fundraising, because they say the moment you're asking for donation, your I don't know how coverage is, or whatever, or what is it called in English? They're going low, and they get less and less people watching it. Like they don't, So the whole world is tired. Even in Ukraine, people are tired, but still donating. And I don't know just how to revive all that. We need to revive. We need to find new causes. Hey guys, donate, please. I'm so busy, but I made one video that I will personally plant a tree for each dollar donation that you make, for cars. One of my friends is they still need of cars, and we are making this little video right now. I want to post it. Just everybody needs to come up with something new, how to engage people to fundraise and fundraise and fundraise. But we got good budgets. Europe is helping a lot right now, next year or for next few years. And US also, they whatever they confirmed is not bad. I hope that it really goes into their military. I hope it really goes and helps guys, because we don't have many guys left. And what they're saying that they need a lot of aerial help, the drones, and do very specific attacks, so not to lose people.
Okay. And what's going on with Mama Plant a Tree? Are you working on that right now?
Yes,
No.
I'm working it so hard.
Yes. So what's happening?
It's really hard because like we have to emerge into Western markets, and it's just very expensive in terms of marketing. But I'm doing my best. Like this month, like 3 months ago, I already got my baby off the milk, and I'm able to travel more right now. So I'm participating in all conferences possible to push us through. Like this February is very busy. I'm in a hotel today too. But hopefully we will push it through so we can become some kind of, I don't know, I really aim to become some international program, because it's a very good social message. Mama, plant a tree, and then we demine, we help wherever. Also, we are being an offsetting company, of course, but then I really imagine it to be some social program for maternity wards in the state, in the country. It can be any country, for hospital, like maternity wards or schools, kindergartens. That's just to start with, and of course to play the role of a regular offsetting company. We also developed know-how, tools. We're gonna be planting moss. We already co-partnered with American Climate Foundation. We're gonna be planting seaweeds with them somewhere else, but then we come back to Black Sea as well.
My moss.
We want to do a lot of work. It's just we need also financial help on that. So we're looking for either grants or investors. That's what my job is to push it through a little bit.
Okay, but why? I'm curious. You said moss, right? That's not something I've heard of. Well, I know what moss is, but not in the climate space like this. So I've heard of the seaweed angle, but what is the moss angle?
Moss is something that, like, there is a lot of interior moss, which is for beauty and beauty, which does not absorb much of CO2 in your house, even if you smoke. But exterior moss would absorb 1 square meter of exterior moss would absorb like 300 trees do. Absorb CO2, I mean, as much as 300 trees do. Sorry. So basically, it is very, very great opportunity, great alternative for trees. Soon we're not going to have place where we can plant trees. And in urban places where it's all in asphalt, it's all in stones, they don't even have places to plant trees sometimes. So it will be superb to place them on the walls and just cover some walls with moss, but we are testing it right now in different temperatures. In Ukraine, the testing is being delivered in Ukraine. If we manage to bring it somewhere to some south climates to test it as well, and then just we need to produce it a lot. Like, it's a costly business though, but once it is out.
What you're saying about Oksana, what you're saying about the moss, you just answered a question I've had for the last 10 years. And I'll tell you why. Let me tell you a story. I'm in transportation. So we get this order, this was like 10 years ago, of 6 pallets of moss going from Oregon to like the Hamptons, somewhere like in this fancy neighborhood somewhere. So with the it just blew my mind. I'm like, what the hell does somebody want moss, truck it across the country from Oregon all the way there? And I called the driver. I'm like, what the hell did they use it for? He says, you won't believe it. He said, they carried it in the guy's house, and there's a whole bedroom. They use it. They set it up like carpet. They pretty much, so he's going to be walking.
It's interior one. It's interior one.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, are you sure? He says, yeah. He says, I saw it with my own eyes. And I thought to myself, these rich people are just insane. What the hell is wrong with them? They're losing their mind.
Well, the interior one is very easy to access on the market right now. There are plenty of interior moss right now.
Now what you're saying is like, so if it produces like oxygen, or it takes out
and it consumes CO2.
Yeah,
yes.
So
no, but the interior one, I don't believe that interior does. But maybe they had some special. Maybe they had
they had like dirt and everything. I mean, they had
real one. The exterior. That's exterior one.
Wow.
Yeah, they
So you
just
see,
put it in the house.
now you understand why they wanted it. Anyway, so it's a great thing, and then we could produce it in Ukraine. That could be like, we're gonna create job places, we're gonna create the whole business there. That will be great, but we need investors for that, and like support, like also to patent it, just to support it. Because Goodyear, the Goodyear, they also prototyped it several years ago, but they never did it. They wanted to put it in the tire of the car. So each car has moss inside of the tire. So basically the car is going and automatically the moss is absorbing CO2 as it is in the tire. Yes, that would be great for all the logistics sector to offset that way. But they never did it. So probably a Mama Planted Tree wants to kind of, very ambitious.
Yeah.
Though, but it's hard because it also has in the car. It's even harder. The construction is hard. But let's see. The first money come first. So money will drive everything. Money will drive moss of setting on setting. I have a lot of things. I have a lot of great eco solutions, like really, really great things. And Eco Passport, maybe the thing that you were helping me with. Yeah, so it also was moving in, and we just need to finish the technology, which also requires money, blah, blah. Anyways, a lot of work to do. Hopefully we get it done.
Yeah, a few projects. Yeah. Vlad, I think you have another shipment going to Ukraine, you said, not
We're working on it. We're working on it. We're pretty much, I think the fellow that I work with, he still has some room in there. So trying to see what, just he wants to fill it up all the way. And then as soon as we get it filled up, we're going to have to get it moved. And I'm going to take a break for a while.
From Ukraine?
From Ukraine, yeah.
No, that's true. Like all the volunteers, they're also burning down. You need a break for sure. You deserve it. Until now, I just wanted to ask you if you, Vladimir, are you taking the break right now? Did you go? I wanted to ask you.
Well, I'm kind of right now taking a break because we slowed down. I told him that I said just let's take a break, but he's so passionate, and I mean I understand because thing is I'm here. He actually went to visit down there when we were when the supplies were getting divided up and stuff. So he was actually down there looking, just making sure everything was going everything was going where it's supposed to. And so maybe he's seen things that I didn't see. So I mean, when you're on the ground there, you kind of get charged up. So that's probably why he still wants to push. And I'm like, well, I need a break. I said the economy also slowed down. And I mean, I'm sure Vector sees it on their side as well because they're in the sea container moving business, and you can read the articles. I mean, there's a huge slowdown in logistics, so people can't do things. They can't just support stuff like they used to.
And remind me who your partner is there and where they are.
They're in Vinica. There's a couple of churches that they partnered up with, and he knows them.
I wanted to ask, like, where did you are you getting some donations, or is it something that Ukraine is ordering and you're delivering, or you are really getting some donations in US?
No, we're just getting some donations from the different organizations and the different companies and individuals, like different products and stuff. And
but how is it in US? Like, I wanted to hear it. How is it in US? Like, how people are they still willing to donate? Is it harder to fundraise right now? Or like,
it is very hard right now. I mean, because the thing is, you have two problems. One of the major issues is the U.S. economy has slowed down. It hit the logistics sector very hard, and the logistics sector was the main driver, I would say, for to move the products and to help out. And that includes everybody, like the big organizations, like the sea ships and stuff like that. So they were everybody, they had more money because when rates were high, they had more money to donate. Now, I mean, the container rates are very cheap. I mean, coming down from like China and everywhere, so they're hurting too. So people who used to help, they're hurting now too. And that's the thing is, a lot of Ukrainians, they don't understand that. They feel the pain, they feel this, they feel that, but they don't see the other companies and other organizations, they're having issues as well. So they're trying to do as much as they can and also stay, afloat, because they don't know how 24 will end. And we got the elections coming. So there's just a lot of things that are happening, starting from maritime to trucking to logistics. I mean, look at UPS. They're laying off like what, 9,000 or 12,000 people in their 3PL division, and that's just a lot of companies that shut down and are shutting down. So there's a lot of attacks coming, economic attacks coming on these companies that were very generous before, and they're having their issues. And then the Ukrainians are expecting the same kind of reaction as it happened before, when the war just happened, and when everybody was flush with cash. Well, that boat has sunk and it's gone. I mean, so I'm just being
they don't
realistic.
expect it because it's the same situation even in Ukraine, in Europe. They feel it, they understand that their needs are the same though.
Yeah, the needs are the same. And like I said, I'm, correct. I would say, understand me correctly. I'm all about helping stuff, but when we talk to some people, in Ukraine, oh, they have a like Christmas list. I need this. I'm like, oh, we can't get you all this. I mean, it's not like a year ago, 2 years ago. Now we can maybe get you half of it. I mean, or maybe but we can't get you everything.
Like you are processing actual orders, like we need this, we need that.
Yeah, I'm serious. No, I mean, we had that, we need this, we need a van, we need this, and just like all these different.
That's the thing that what I'm bringing right now to you, that maybe like little brainstorm, since we're already here, just for all of us, because everybody, there is no family that does not fundraise in Ukraine, or at least I don't know one, either friend or father or somebody, brother, somebody, thanks God alive yet, so they are happy to fundraise it.
I tell you what we ran into. I'll tell you what we ran into. We actually, when my guy on the ground was there, Ukrainians are hoarders too. And I mean, I'm just telling you how it is. Like, they save it for the rainy day. Well, don't worry about the rainy day. There's a need there. Move it. Move it to where it's needed.
To the front. To the front. You know about those things.
We might get attacked here tomorrow, so we're going to keep some of it here. So I think a lot of there's a good chunk, because I'm telling you what the reality is. I mean, we've been there. We went into.
But what is that? Is it humanitarian help? Right?
Humanitarian aid, like for example, okay, they they've got certain amount of aid that came in, and it's supposed to go to the front, so they'll hold back 20% of it, for example, just for the rainy day. And we asked them, why did you hold it back? Well, what if the rocket would land here? Then we wouldn't have it here. And then so they have logic. You have some logic in it, but we're like, hey, when this happens, you'll get it from somewhere else.
They can deliver, yeah.
Yeah, you can get delivered. You don't have to hoard it and stuff. And it's not like it's part of this mentality, like the old Ukrainian grandmas. I'll just stuff it.
No, it's not about the grandmas. It's just every municipality has to be equipped with everything just if the rocket comes. So they just want to ensure that they have everything, so they don't have to run and look for something. If you are the mayor of the Vinnytsia, you will do the same, because you're responsible for the huge crowd, and if they say, hey, this has happened and you don't have anything, they're gonna blame you. They might even prosecute you if you don't have enough, if you don't care, don't take care, blah blah. So we don't know that. 20% not bad, let's leave it. If they would hold back drones or cars, that's bad.
Yeah, no, it's just so you kind of you have a meeting, you talk it over, and then you clear that mindset, and then you move on.
But what I was about to bring up is that what kind of, like, you, Chris, as well, is living in US. I don't know where Yaroslava is living right now, but what do you, as a regular American citizen, and you, Vladimir, as an American citizen who understands Ukrainianese, being Ukrainian there, what do you think that could wake you up and kind of revive you and make you donate? Like, what thing has to be? For example, we're planting tree and we're making like fun and cute campaigns that are not about grieving, but rather like about fun and happy
I
moment that, you know.
I think for me personally, what would really make a difference, and I'm going to say something, and it's not going to be combing somebody the right way, but I'm going to tell you something. When I see the politicians, their children go to the front lines, but when you see their
Yeah,
kids,
but that everybody would like they
yeah, but
Ukraine
when
is
you,
like they all wanted. We all
yeah,
wanted in Ukraine.
yeah, when you see their kids going to the front lines, then you're you know you're going to say, listen, now it's a
Let's pull
united.
it up. Let's pull
Yeah,
up together.
exactly. But when you
Again.
see, a politician's son staying at home in a nice, comfy apartment, and the guy from the village gets drafted and goes to the front lines, is his blood, less worthy than the guy from the village? I
But
mean,
we are working on that. There are a lot of petitions, a lot of that we are signing daily. Like this petition, there exists as well that ask the politicians to go and change their. Or
yeah,
at
and then,
least one.
like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm anti-Ukraine. I love the country. I was born there. We've sent over a lot of donations, but I cannot be blind and
No, you're not the
not,
only one. We all
yeah,
say
and
that. We
not
write
see,
petitions for that.
yeah.
We ask that politicians go there. And that's now even military asks that because they say we cannot motivate regular people to go there hiding because
Yeah,
they
well,
say, doesn't the government go, or which is also has its rights. They're not supposed to
This
have a
is
different
a very
job.
good discussion, and I actually spent some time yesterday brainstorming about it. And I think, Oksana, with what you do with your angle on building the force against the climate change, I think the philosophy and attitude towards the war in Ukraine is very identical, which is a big switch, foundational switch in the people in the US to confirm that the war in Ukraine or that the humanitarian support or whatever the problems that people are facing, especially at the front lines, is solvable. Because what I think people have faced in the last 2 years with numerous reports about millions and billions of dollars being sent to Ukraine, especially in the military aid, there is no clear understanding of what exactly their money does and how it helps, and if their donation can still solve something. Because in their understanding, okay, the war will last for centuries, or maybe just like you said, Vladimir, I'm also not blind, and I have seen people saying to our volunteers at the front line, oh, actually, with your humanitarian support, we live better now than we used to prior to the war. Or, for example, with the excessive amount of the corruptions that exist in the front lines too. Lots of people don't want to be blind, but people don't know how their help can solve it.
That's true. That's true. And we noticed that too. Like when we bring it as a happy moment, like we already demining. It's a recovery. That's a different angle, as you say. Like people, we just want to make this campaign a little bit more popular, so they can just feel that, oh, it's about to be over. At least in some parts, they're already demining, right? So it's about to be over. Sounds like about to be over. Okay, so you also see the positive factor in this. Like anything else, Christy? Maybe
I wanted to ask Yarrow, you have a nonprofit as well, you're fundraising. What are you hearing as far as obstacles to fundraising or just feedback in general?
The first obstacle is that we faced it early in 2022 and rolling into 2023, and what Vladimir was reflecting in the decline in the logistics. Part of that, there were so many commercial companies and nonprofits who have immediately allocated their emergency funds, even though helping Ukraine wasn't in their core mission statement. But they, as an emergency response, they said, okay, we see the people suffering, we will support. And then they slowly started retrieving the money. And that basis continues. So, for example, first year we raised $1.5 million. Second year we raised a little over $500,000. This year, 2024, that decline will continue, sadly.
Yeah, I think just from my perspective and what I've seen, and there are articles on this to back me up online, but like the US is very good at giving an immediate crisis. It's text to donate $10, there's a hurricane, there's a flood, there's a war, there's, now all the things. There's fires in Chile right now. There's, natural disasters everywhere. So the US is very good, I feel like, in giving in those circumstances. The ongoing is obviously the problem. The other side of that is there's always something else that comes up, right? Something else that either dominates the news cycle or is an emergency, whether it's Israel, Hamas, Gaza. There was the flooding in Pakistan. There's the fires in Chile right now. There was the rural China region that was also devastated by landslides and rain and everything. So I think that's where it kind of gets difficult, is even though, like, because logistics is everything, I have the news on all day long because everything is related to logistics. And so, there's always some catastrophe that's dominating the news cycle. So I feel like over and over again, Ukraine is still in the news cycle, which is good. But it's, there's always something that is taking somebody's time. Everybody, whether it's a company, whether it's an individual, you only have one bucket, usually to choose from. And so where are you going to give at that point in time? Where's that money going to come from? And Yarrow, to what you said earlier, was it last May or the May before? I think it was the May before. I was at a conference. They did kind of like, so this was in May, so the war had only been going on a couple of months. And they kind of did like this emergency Ukraine session. It was a packed room. It was for like corporate giving and nonprofits and things. And so they were asking people, what they were doing, how they were doing it. And there were a lot of people in the same position as you, where like Subaru, what was the other big one? There were a couple big ones that were like, our mission has ever only been to give in the United States, but this is such a moral imperative that we need to figure out a response. And so I think you're right that in the immediacy, a lot of people who maybe not have normally given to causes outside of the US diverted some of those funds. But from the at least large corporate perspective, for example, if a corporate donor has a nonprofit partner, sometimes those are years in the making, 2 or 3 years before they're getting their campaigns up and rolling. They're trying to figure out what to do. So it was kind of like, put the brakes on. How do we address this situation? We know something needs to be done, but then, yeah, we've been working for 2 or 3 years, or at minimum 18 months, to try and get this other nonprofit onboarded and this cause and giving and campaign going. So then the money diverts back after a certain amount of time, because everybody only has so much to choose from, especially if it's a large corporation that has been, had something in the works for a long time. So I think we're seeing a lot of that shift back, of course, and that's why you guys are seeing donations go down. I think, as always, from a marketing perspective, it is hard to hear statistics and see the people behind them. It's devastating to hear statistics, especially when it's millions of people displaced or killed in the war, or things like that. But I still feel like from a fundraising and an attention grabbing standpoint, it's always individual stories that help people make the cause more relatable and get their attention, and be able to see how one person's life has been shifted so dramatically, and finding the connection between, this person may live in a completely different scenario, a completely different location, a completely different circumstance. I don't have any personal knowledge of what it would be like to wake up and hear bombs every day, but trying to find those commonalities and show how life is disrupted and how to relate that to your own circumstance, and find those common connection points to be able to make those stories more real to the person. And I think the other thing, which sometimes nonprofits in general struggle with, is, well, 2 things. One, being able to make the donor the hero. It's like, our organization is doing this, we're doing this, we've accomplished so much. Well, the donor needs to know how much they were a part of the mission, and how to get involved, and how to be that, and how to let them see that they are the hero of this story and not just the nonprofit itself. And I think the other aspect of that is really showing the people and places behind that, and being able to let people interact. So, for example, Vlad, if you had like, okay, everybody that's, donated products or goods or shipping or whatever, we're going to have a live video stream with our church partners, in Ukraine. You can ask them questions, you can just hear their stories. And so being able to make those connection points between not just telling a story, but letting your donors like have more of that interaction with the people, so that they can really see the people that their donations are going to and how it's being used. I think those are always super helpful, especially when there's always another cause that comes up, because none of them are bad to give to. I'm not going to, punish anybody for giving to anything, because there's so many good causes out there. But you also have to make them really care about that cause.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It's just I think with the election year and stuff like that, there's going to be, and hopefully the Ukrainians are going to be smart about it in Ukraine and understand that this is an election year as well, and don't give any provocation to the political machine. Don't give any ammo for them to use and to make you look bad, because this is going to be a nasty election, and I'm just it's going to be a very, very nasty election in my opinion, and just there's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of finger pointing, and I just think if the Ukrainians are not smart this year, as far as that they really watch what they do, and if it's kosher, make sure it's extra kosher. If it's that things are very well documented and stuff like that, because any politician, no matter which side of the aisle, can, they can politicize stuff just to score political points, and they don't care about anything else. They just want to get, their point across, and not that their point is bad, and then every single, like I said, every single lie, there's a little bit of truth in it. So just like, and I think nobody can hurt Ukrainians more than Ukrainians can hurt themselves. That's kind of my own analogy of it.
Yeah. Well, even I like what you said earlier too, about just helping to ensure that the donation is getting where people intended it to be. We've all on this call and elsewhere heard just terrible stories of donations going over, not being tracked, or being left by the side of the road because there wasn't really anybody to accept it, and all of that. So making sure that, so I've reached out to a couple of you. Yaro and I have had multiple emails back and forth about, you shipped this amount of food. Well, how many people did that impact? And, where are those stories? And how is that, what does that help look like in practicality? So I think that's all really important. Oksana, you're on mute. You were about to say something.
I was just saying, but you went on because I wasn't. Just that the story is good. The personal story which you mentioned, we didn't think about it, and there are like every person you take as a personal story that is so unique for foreigners, and we need to bring them up more and more, and find a way how to do it, how to attract attention to it in a positive way. I believe that something that is positive will attract, some positive moments about the war, and how donators can become positive heroes in these positive moments. Something like this, right?
This is also, Oksana, I want to highlight it. That's very much where also Vladimir said that sometimes Ukrainians can advocate against themselves, and Ukrainians started digging a very deep hole for themselves. When the war started, everybody was showing how much pity Ukrainian people need, right? Look at the distraction, look at the emotional strain, look at how many people have become refugees, mothers, children, just like in your case, for example, with moving back and forth. And those stories are so personal and intimate. And the problem with that, there was no positive influence on the American people, right? From the perspective of how I see it here in the US. So they have dug a very deep hole, because now people are emotionally drained to hear more of these stories, right? Because you have to filter them, you have to process them, you have to sleep on them, and people want
so
to.
that's what I'm saying. We should show less negative stories, but rather show, because already 2 years passed. there are a lot of bad stories which have a positive success now. Even my story is a positive, it has a positive success at the end. And we need to tell them, especially some kids which were like, you know, without the arm or something, and show the positive impact and show that like, and then if there is a donation ask at the end, when you show like, we saved this kid is playing football with that leg, you know, all this, that kid has won something this in US on this, like, you know, to show how this immigrants who came into US helped, like got helped first, and then how they are helping right now the US, like how they're contributing to the society. That's what's something that, because I hear a lot of like during this election that Biden allows immigrants to stay or get like some permanent statuses, and that will influences his like votes, blah blah. So like a lot of people are against this immigrants, but that would be great to show what immigrants are doing good right now while they're waiting for the end of the war, you know. So this is kind of a good thing. So you see, we brainstorm a little bit, everybody said something, and we find some positive things which we could work on, some creative campaigns.
Yara,
Yes, which in conclusion, in 2024, what we have to do is to come up with very creative ways to bring those testimonies, those stories of Ukrainian people to the people in the US and to the people in Europe and across the world. Because whatever stories worked in the beginning of 2022 and stopped working in 2023, they will no longer work. So what we're doing for that, for example, across East Coast, we're hosting a series of different exhibitions and auctions with art that we shipped from Ukraine. So we have calling all Ukrainian exhibition in art, where more than 100 artists participated, and we ship that art. So that's the art made in Ukrainian by Ukrainians in the times of war, and not to show, look at the footprint of war, because of course there is a footprint of war in art, whatever form of art it can be. Music, painting, dancing, and so on. And with that, we're trying to show more of the witnesses' stories about their life, about what they experience, but also in a very vibrant, in a very unusual way that the art is illustrated. My idea before the war started that all the art will be white, black, and gray, because whatever people, I interpret the art, whatever people experience at that moment, they portray it in the painting, but that wasn't the case. People are still able to provide very colorful, very beautiful art pieces. And what I see when people purchase them, I really encourage them to read between the lines and get to know the artist's biography, the painting description. And what I see, we of course still cannot fundraise enough money to match what we were able to fundraise in 2022 based on those horror stories of Ukrainian people. But that's one of the creative ways that we're trying to bridge that gap. It's very slow, it's not as effective, but that's
it's just a lot of
one of the only solutions that we see.
It's just like Christy says, a lot of catastrophes, and you don't know which to choose from to donate to. So if there will be, instead of a catastrophe behind something positive, behind the art, behind the forest, behind some cool, you know-how, progressive solution, that should bring something, and a story, and a cool, positive ending story. You know, everybody wants the, Hollywood movie and the Hollywood ending movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Christy, I interrupted you for a second. You were asking?
No, I was going to ask, well, I have two questions now. One, has this started? And if so, how is it being received? And then two, I was just going to ask you in general, and maybe this is the answer. What have you done? Obviously, it makes sense too. The donations dropped off from 22 because it was fresh. It was all consuming. It was everywhere. It was just, lots of information all at once. But what have since then, maybe last year and then coming up, what have been either in individual conversations or some of these wider initiatives, what have been some successful tools for you?
Successful tools for us were to fundraise, not in the form of cash, but mostly in in-kind donations. I think people feel a much more tangible experience. For example, that last year we shipped 2 40-foot high cube containers with winter clothing and diapers. So people felt a much more tangible and direct experience of them helping, how exactly their winter coat in winter time can help another lady or another little boy in Ukraine, and giving them something that they can feel, something that they can touch, is much more result based. And we have had a lot of people who are ready to donate a lot more in terms of, let's say, clothing, diapers, any other material other than just bringing money again.
Makes sense.
So we were trying to expand across our region, not just where I'm based in East Tennessee, but more across East Coast, which is extremely difficult for us to expand to brand new markets. It's so hard to get people in the room, to get new volunteers, to help somebody else from those regions to build that bridge for us, to mediate those relationships with new donors, new volunteers. But that, what I see, will have to be a switch for many nonprofits engaging people.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I know, because I didn't realize you had expanded your art project. I remember you doing the first one, but I didn't realize you had expanded that. How has that been received?
Very difficult, first of all, very difficult to get people in the room, but once they leave our event, they are all amazed about the level of organization and the level and the talent of the artwork that we were able to bring to Ukraine. And part of that, of course, there is a visual component, very important, but what is to read between the lines and to understand why these paintings were created, right? And the why is to actually share those stories of Ukrainian people, especially from the front line, to people here. And of course, for people to find their social pages on Instagram, on Facebook, get in touch with them, thank them for their work, send them a picture how they have put their painting on a wall, to build that relationship with somebody else who is on the ground other than me, always mediating that conversation. And since I'm in US, I can always do it as a third person, not first person.
Yeah.
But very difficult to get people in the room. We really struggle, especially going to further cities, for example, state capitals, extremely difficult. So this year we have 2 art auctions in Pennsylvania. So we will see how well we can engage some of our strong advocates to bring people in the room. But once those people leave the room, they become the people who actually want to come back for more of our events.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a very cool idea. And Vlad, what about you? From the company perspective, you have a lot of folks donating products as well. What have been some challenges, and what have people have been saying? Are they just out of things to donate? Do they need a more?
Well, I would say a lot of them, we already scooped everything out and sent it out from where we are. There's really, I mean,
Yeah,
we've
hospitals and everything. Yeah,
we've hit every single place down here. I think we got the last container, and I don't think there's anything in this neighborhood to ship. So, I mean, we send out, I mean, this is like what are going to be our like total of 11 containers. I think that we have number 12 that we're getting ready. And I mean, that's a lot of stuff. Yeah. And so we just pretty much, we're going to be out, we're going to take a break. My thing is, I want to get involved later on, maybe with some of the orphanages, because this whole thing is going to leave a lot of orphans around. So my wife, actually, she wants to get involved in that later. So that's what we're kind of.
Can you please connect me with your wife whenever she's ready, when she's on it? Maybe I will be a little bit more free as well. Kid is growing, so I will be happy to help as well. And I know people on site, and I wanna involve in that too. And there is a lot of goals in that area for me as well.
Yeah, no, it's
just keep me in mind. Just keep me in mind, please. I'm in chat and WhatsApp.
Because I mean, for us, I mean, it's just me and my wife. We don't have any of our own kids, so she was something that she kind of was, you know, had in her heart to do for a while. So that's what.
I always had a dream to adopt one. You know, like we always want our own kids, which is great. And, I am capable to have even more, but there are so many kids that are alone in the world that there are no foreign kids, like we say, there are no odd kids, so I would be happy to
Yeah, they have
once
my
I
nephew.
settle, I'm gonna be happy even adopt one as well.
I think my nephew, he adopted 2 kids, but I mean, I think they're waiting for the paperwork is all signed. I think
I
the
missed, you said
grandpa,
who?
my
Nephew.
nephew,
You're
my
in
nephew.
Ukraine or in US?
He actually, I think, no, it was in Ukraine, and the kids were in Poland, I believe, and they found the grandfather. He was the only one that was left, and that guy is like 90 years old, and he can't care for them. So he signed the paperwork to release the kids from his custody. So I think that was the only like surviving relative that they had. So, and he says, I can't raise them, I'm too old. So he gave them up, and my nephew adopted them. I think it was like 2 brothers or something.
That's great. That's great. It's quite hard. It's quite hard. Somebody, like, it's not even on news. It's not even on socials media. Like, a lot of people are looking for that, but they don't even know what they don't find. There was one case of public celebrity in Ukraine adopting one kid these last 2 years, and she's also a lawyer by profession, and she says like she had gone through nightmare, and they're celebrities, they're presenters to the TV, and she said like it was the hardest, super hard procedure. So she's right now on it to simplify it, so it's open to more Ukrainians to do it, and especially those Ukrainians who had a chance to move outside, who live abroad right now, and have more possibilities and can take the kids and as well. So it's just keep me in mind. I'm on with you. I'm gonna be on with your team.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give your contact information to my wife.
Please do.
Well, we're almost at an hour. This has been a great discussion, different from kind of the format the last couple of times.
Different.
Really
Yes,
good.
we have been covering Greece to Ukraine for the last hour.
No, it just, since we listen, everybody says no, donation drop, the logistics drop, like nothing to carry. So we had to have a session where we could brainstorm how we can attract more donations. And like what I see, less humanitarian help is needed, more military, or at least drones and cars. Like if it's not like you cannot donate or buy or whatever military and things, but at least drones or cars, used cars for pickups, they're always needed. That's something that we always donate for. And prices are still super high and still hard to find in Ukraine, impossible. So we're bringing him somewhere from UK. So I don't know, the whole world will be
Yeah,
still
the thing is,
donating
the whole
cars.
thing is all screwed up there, because if you're a U.S. citizen, you can bring a car across with no issue. So actually, I know this girl. All she does is like she brings vehicles from for nonprofit organization, because she's a U.S. citizen. So she flies there. She lives there for 2 months. All she does is drive cars across the border, because with the U.S. passport, they'll let her through with no issue. And
can you give me the contact of the girl? Because right now they like the car that we were fundraising for, they're bringing it from UK, and we actually are to pay the customs and everything. And the truck is come up to 7,000, where it costs like, I don't know, 3-4, even not. And this probably will be bumped or shorted down in a week, 3, I don't know, 1 month or something. And it's like just such a pity that we're wasting so much money. And Ukrainians have done so many different schemes how to cheat on their own border. Their own border doesn't let them, because a lot of people also use this border to when there was a free entrance for the cars. Remember last year, for some period of time, a lot of people used it not for military but for own needs, and there was a huge down for the market who was selling the cars in Ukraine. So of course, but those now who really need it for the cars, for the military, they're coming up with great illegal schemes how to bring them in, which is still harder. It's either if we have a contact like that with that passport,
Yeah.
So maybe sometimes when she comes, she can
The
just
thing
help
is,
us to drive one car.
it's perfectly legal. It's within the law. She's a U.S. citizen, so she can bring in a vehicle.
No, that
in.
one, yes, but I'm talking about
So,
regular Ukrainians who go
yeah.
abroad, bring something in, like
Yeah.
they do,
And-
they're
yeah,
finding
she's
legal things.
Yeah, she's been doing that for a while now. That I mean, I follow her on Instagram, and like you can see that she's been doing that for a while.
She's
and
Ukrainian who has a U.S.
yeah,
passport, right?
she's Ukrainian. Yeah, she came here when she was a kid. I think she was
Nice,
very
that's nice.
young, and then she used to live in Florida. Then she moved to California, and she works at the nonprofit there. And on her like breaks, she just goes there and does it.
Will you
Just
send
just
her
connect me, please.
Instagram account? Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
And then Oksana, I don't remember if I had connected you in the past to UA Resistance, but they are collecting supplies, and then they fill ambulances with supplies and then ship the ambulances over.
In U.S.?
Yes, they're based out of Chicago.
No, thank you. I'm copying it right now.
I can introduce you to her via email. If
And how do they ship? Do they ship through you?
No, they've been using, I think maybe the Ukrainian government pays for it. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've talked to her.
I will check. I will get in contact with them. Thank you. I copied. I don't note down it for myself. Thank you.
Okay, where do I
So if they do ambulances, then they probably can help with cars as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where did I put their information? Where do I just copy paste her?
Chat.
Look
For chat.
It's in, under the 3 dots and more on the very right side. I don't like this.
In the corner, top corner, top
you're
right corner.
Chat right here.
Yeah,
So let me do this.
that's fascinating. I would like to see
So
more.
do I just where do I team chat?
Yeah, I don't know where buttons are on the.
Do you guys see that or no?
Not yet.
Then who do I?
You can send it to me and I'll put it in the email.
Okay. Just trying to. Okay, chat.
We are at our hour, guys. This was awesome. Thank you for being here. Really awesome discussion. If anybody comes up with anything in the meantime,
I'll put it in the other thing, the other chat room, the WhatsApp group,
perfect.
because I'm not very good.
Well, and I don't use the Zoom app on my phone.
You're gonna be
There you
yeah, you got it on WhatsApp. Thank you, Christy, very much that you are patient and you're still doing all this gathering of ours. I really will aim to be more consistent. I really hope, like, every time I register,
I know.
I'm rigorous on registering.
I know you're out there somewhere paying attention and watching. I never doubt that.
Yes.
And it's good to see you.
But it's just that you just can't imagine how valuable it is that someone else cares, apart from Ukrainians, someone else is on with us, like brings Ukrainian around to help I don't know, organizes Ukrainian to help Ukrainians. I appreciate you and Enrique, and
yeah,
I appreciate so much this initiative.
A lot of good that
it's like a platform where we can get together. Some people who would never meet each other. That's true.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, we will talk to you next time. Thanks so much for being here, and look for more by email and the WhatsApp group. And thanks for all you're doing. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Christy.
it.
Thank you, everybody.